Hello, my name is BJ Marshall. I'm the Executive Director at Highway Connections. Highway Connections is a ministry dedicated to putting the Word of God, the Bible, into the hands of truckers. We have been doing this for 50 years by providing free Bibles in truck stops all over the U.S. and Canada. At Highway Connections, we have a heart for the drivers and their families to see them into local churches and to have a healthy community in their area. Hi, I'm BJ Marshall, the Executive Director at Highway Connections, and today on our Thoughts from the Road, we're going to be looking at the question, what do I do when I hit some rough roads? Have you ever come across some rough roads in your life? I know I have. I was driving out in western Oklahoma one time. I would go through this one patch quite frequently, and every time I would hit it, I would just brace and hope that nothing would fall off of a shelf and hit me in my truck. Another time I was driving out in Missouri and I hit a really bad patch of rough road. By the time I got to the end, I looked up and realized that I had actually even cracked my windshield. Well, this reminds me of a passage in the book of James where James is encouraging the Christians of his day about what to do when they come into times of trials in their lives. James tells us to count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. But let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. You see, James is encouraging us to look at trials differently, to look at those times of rough roads just a little bit different. You see, for a lot of us, when we come into trials in our lives, we treat it like that road that I had out in Oklahoma, where we're just gripping and hoping we make it through before anything bad happens. But you see, that's not how we should approach trials. You see, God sends us these trials not to see if we can grin and bear it, but that we can produce glory to Him through those trials. Because you see, James goes on and he tells us that if any of us lack wisdom, let us ask of God, who gives to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven by the wind and tossed. Let not that man think that he shall receive anything from the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. James calls us to, when we hit those times of trials, to go to God and ask for wisdom, to ask for the ability to see those trials through God's eyes. Because when we pull back, and we look at these times of trials in our lives, God doesn't send them to punish us. He sends them to us to conform us to look more like His Son Jesus. It's kind of like if you took a rough piece of wood and you rubbed your hand over it, you could get a splinter. But if you take sandpaper, a rough material, and you rub that over the wood, it can smooth out those rough edges. So next time you hit a patch of rough road in your life, whether it's in a car or in your life, stop, pray, ask God for some wisdom to see it from His perspective, and maybe you won't even crack your windshield.